All right, guys, we are live. Quarterfinal workouts have been released a few minutes early. I'm here with John Young to go through those real quick. We may take a break at 2 o'clock. CrossFit is having a press conference of the CrossFit Open with the winners, Jeff Adler and Mal O'Brien, and they'll be joined by Adrian Bosman and Justin Bergh. So we're going to try to stream that and then pick back up if we don't have time to finish all of the workouts. All right. John, have you had a chance to take a look at these yet?
Briefly.
Yeah. All right. So 5 workouts. Quarterfinal test number 1. 9 front squats at one weight. 9 handstand walks at 25 feet across, 15 front squats at a heavier weight, 15 muscle ups, 21 front squats at the lightest weight, and then 21 chest to wall handstand push-ups. John, initial reactions on this one?
It's a lot of stuff. How do I stop the echo? Can I get my headphones real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
So it's a 15-minute time cap on this one. You see down there below that the first set of 9 front squats is 225 for the men, 155 for the women. It does drop down to 185, 125 on the set of 15, and then 135, 95 for the set of 21 front squats. And then on the gymnastics side, it does progressively get different, handstand walk on the 25-foot track, 15 muscle ups, and 21 chest to wall handstand push-ups. One of the movements that we kind of thought we might see when this line was put out and the floor plans were released earlier on Monday. Are you back in business, John?
Yep. Sound better?
Yeah. Yep. You sound good. So, initial thoughts from your perspective on this workout and kind of what your thoughts are from you doing the workout.
Okay, so do you hear an echo? Because I still hear one.
I do not.
Okay, so I'll just let it run then. I like that the heaviest weight is first. I'm curious if it's off of the ground.
Yeah.
The chat still says there's an echo.
Is it just John, guys? Why don't you try dropping off and signing back in? Maybe that might
do this last time.
No. All right. While we wait for John to kick back on and hopefully get some better audio, we'll take a quick look at workout number 2 over here. Workout number 2, also, these are the first 2 workouts. They're due by Friday at noon Pacific time. A 12-minute AMRAP of 8 dumbbell snatches with one arm, 8 overhead walking lunges with that same arm, 8 dumbbell snatches with the other arm, 8 overhead walking lunge steps, arm 2, and then 40 crossovers. All right, John? Can you hear me, John?
Keep talking.
All right.
Now.
All right. Let us know in the comments if it sounds any better, guys. All right. Go back to workout 1. Workout 2. So crossovers. Let's see what the workout has here. And the description of what these are. It looks like it's not double under crossovers.
Is it single under crossovers?
That's what we'll see here. All right, come on. Oh, interesting. So it is stepping. So it's not a 25-foot track. It's just 8 steps is big or small steps as you want to make. All right, we know what all these are. Here it is.
So it's single-ended crossovers.
Yes. That's interesting. So I guess it's alternating. Single under crossover, single under crossover. All right. All right. First workout. Reaction, John. What do you think, John? I don't think anything's working for him. You're probably right, Gabe. Audio, both being picked up right now. He's still working on it. So let's go through the rest of the workouts until John gets that straightened out. Third workout. So this would be the test that's due on Saturday. 5 burpee box jump overs and 1 clean and jerk. 5 rounds for time, a 10-minute time cap. Add 1 clean and jerk after each round. So 275-pound clean and jerks for the men, 185 for the women. 185 for the women. 185 for the women. And a 30-inch box for the men and a 24-inch box for the women. All right. Hey, John, you can hear me yet?
Yeah, I can hear you, but fix my computer.
Yeah, we jumped on here very quickly. So MLK 5240. So we have the workouts for quarterfinals, and we are waiting on the CrossFit Open press conference that is still it's running 3 minutes behind. So we'll jump over that if we can when that does come on. All right. So again, workout 3 here, due on Saturday. 5 rounds for time, 5 burpee box jump overs, and 1 clean and jerk. Add a clean and jerk every round. 275 clean and jerks and 185 pounds for the women. And let's see. We'll just go run through all of these real quick, John, and we'll get back to you if it's all working for you.
Is it better now? No.
So
all right, I'm gonna
hear you, but it's bad. All right. Individual test for a 20-minute AMRAP of a 1,000-meter row, 50 GHD sit-ups, a 500-meter row, and 25.
Recording
V-ups.
in progress.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, I see quite a few people populating here, so we'll get underway shortly. Just want to make sure everybody can get in there before we start. All right. It looks like we have quite a few attendees. First, I would like to just welcome everybody and remind everybody I'm Chris Madigan. I work with the CrossFit team on the public relations side of things, and we're excited to be able to provide this press conference today to review the 2023 Noble CrossFit Open and also look ahead to the quarterfinals. First off, we'd just like to welcome and thank Adrian, Justin, Mal, and Jeff for joining us today and giving up some of their time to answer any questions that you might have. We had a great open in terms of some record-setting numbers in terms of streams, and we'll touch on that in a moment. But just some housekeeping things here. Down on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A section. So if you do have a question for those who have joined us, please feel free to populate that and use that feature or raise your hand. I'll do my best to get to everyone who has a question. And we won't waste any time here. We're going to just dive right in. And Justin, I'm going to start with you. Kind of tell me your thoughts, tell us your thoughts, excuse me, about the overall Open and the performance, not only with the streaming, but the other successes that you saw from your perspective.
Overall, we're really pleased with the Open. This is the third consecutive year that we're seeing kind of an annualized 10% growth, which is really good. I think we're back in a really positive, consistent trajectory for this opening stage of competition. We're also really heartened by the strong growth in Europe and also the strong number of recurring athletes. So the people that were, new to the sport within the last couple of years showing up in record numbers and certainly anchored by our top athletes. And we were happy to have Mal and Jeff hit me up, and we're going to have to make sure that we include him next year. So I think he's going to be on that list. But the athletes really were a centerpiece, but also we were able to complement that with some terrific storytelling around members from our community, people whose lives have been impacted by CrossFit training, and the coaches and affiliates where that's taking place. So we were happy to be back inside affiliates for most of these shows, and to be in Europe where some of our very, very large affiliates and participating affiliates in the Open were. And in fact, there were so many people that wanted to come, we couldn't be in an affiliate. So we had to be in a much larger venue at the Caja Mágica. So it was a terrific Open tour for us. From a competition standpoint, there's a lot of things that went well. There's also things that I think we're continuously trying to improve. But really for us, we're very, very excited about the transition now to quarterfinals and the tough challenge that is now released to these athletes. And we're excited to see the top 10% of athletes take on that test.
Great. Thank you. Boz, let's toss this to you. Tell us about some of the thought process behind some of the nuances that you brought to the Open this year that might have been different, and the success you saw, or things that may lead you to make some changes next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Open is always a big experiment at its heart. It's been that way since year one, and there's always going to be some things that we play with on the programming side and just concepts that we put out. Honestly, I wasn't trying to make this year's Open much different than years in the past. I really wanted to keep it true to what we have known it to be, which is a big community test that gets us to the next stage and allows people from around the world to play the game. So, I thought it was important to bring back the concept of a repeat, which has been a staple in the Open for a long time. The Open's also a place where we see some new elements that can be put in some different ways. And maybe some competitive elements that haven't been seen specifically in that light. So it was fun to play around with a couple of those in the second and third test in particular. But yeah, overall, it was really just trying to keep an homage to what we all know the Open to be.
Great. Thank you. Without further ado, we're going to go to our 2023 Noble CrossFit Open winners. I'm going to start above the border in Canada with Jeff. Jeff, you certainly put in a heck of a performance over those 3 weeks. How does that make you feel looking ahead to the quarterfinals, and reflect just a little bit on those 3 workouts?
It makes me feel good for sure. Like winning the Open it's a fun thing to do. I'm lucky enough it's my second time around, but it doesn't make me feel like I'm going to win quarterfinals or any other stage. I have to work hard to get my name at the top of the leaderboard. So I'm excited for quarters and see what I can do with those tests.
And Mal, I'll ask you a similar question. You've had some success in the Open, and you're one of the younger elite athletes who's been very competitive. Kind of review those last 3 workouts and your outlook for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all 3 weeks. I think all 3 tests were really fun and tested something different each week. So, I mean, winning it doesn't really affect quarterfinals like Jeff had said, but it's just it is a good feeling, that your training is working and you're on the right track. And I think going into quarterfinals, it's just kind of the same approach, throw down on the workouts like we would in a competition and just keep going. So, yeah.
Well, great. We'll open up the floor. I see a couple hands already. I will, if you can do me a favor, for those who are joining the call, if you can state your name and your affiliate, who you're reporting for. And then obviously, please direct the questions to whoever you would like them to have answered. We'll start things off with Tommy Marquez. I really hope I pronounce your name correctly, but you should be good to go. And go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, you nailed the name.
Great.
So no worries there. Yeah, Tommy Marquez, I'm reporting for Talking Elite Fitness. My question is for Boz, because the quarterfinal test just got announced on the website and we're kind of pouring through it as we speak. Could you give us just some top line inspiration and intent behind these 5 tests and what was included?
Yeah, I mean, without getting too far into the weeds, just pushing the envelope a little further than the open. I mean, obviously the athletes at that stage have earned it. So a little bit more difficulty on the skills, obviously a little bit more demanding on the weight, and expanding some things that, you know, maybe we haven't seen, and in a combination certainly that we haven't seen. Speaking specifically about the V-up, adding that in as an element, I think is going to be interesting to see how the outcome is changed. So yeah, just pushing things a little bit further. I think this stage of the season, kind of philosophically, it's the first real stress test that the athletes face on the highest end of competition. In the open, you get plenty of time to put your best foot forward and take lots of time to get it right under the conditions that you like. The quarterfinals compresses that in all areas. You have less time, there's more on the line, and everything is a little bit more difficult. So that's really the theme.
Thanks, Boz. Tommy, if you have a follow-up later, we'll just raise your hand again, and that goes for everyone else. Second question will go to Patrick Clark. You should be unmuted. Maybe not. Patrick, you still there?
Hello, can you hear me?
There we go. We got you now.
Oh, here I am. Thanks, Chris. And you pronounced my name right. Thank you for that. This question is for Jeff. Hey, Jeff, congratulations. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but you've joined the likes of Rich Froning and Matt Frazier as multiple open champions. So congratulations. What does that mean to you to be kind of included in that set of names? Obviously, those guys are considered, you know, on the Mount Everest of CrossFit, especially for the men's side. And you know, yeah, just discuss how it feels to be included with those names in the men's field.
I don't think it feels really good, because what they've accomplished, I'm very, very, very far from what they've done in their careers. I'm glad I'm one of the guys that won multiple opens, but I don't think it's worth anything until you win the CrossFit Games multiple times. That's how I see it, how I feel about it. And yeah, I don't think my name should be in the mix with these guys yet, because I don't think I've done the mark quite as deep as they did.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll go to Andrew Hiller next. Andrew, your microphone should be good to go as long as you unmute yourself.
I clicked the button. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Just watched Mel and Jeff's open workout. So first of all, good job to you guys, especially Mel just doing that thing live for everyone to see and then not redoing it and winning the open. And then Jeff, those strict handstand push-ups were awesome, by the way. But my question's for Adrian. Adrian, leading up to the open, there was a tie together with street parking. And I was wondering if there's any thought towards the floor layouts when it comes to the portion of the population that would be doing these possibly not in an affiliate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely one of the things we learned this year is, hey, floor plans matter. And there's tons of people that are going to be doing these in all sorts of different circumstances. You know, that's obviously something we try to take into consideration every year. This year going into it, I will say that we consulted with a lot of people earlier than we have in the past, which kind of freaked me out a little bit because that means more people are aware of at least the concepts of the workouts before we started. So that said, internally, we did have some people from the affiliate side of the house that are in markets that have much smaller affiliate footprints than most of the places in North America. And we ran a lot of these ideas through them to see if that would be something that was viable. And they agreed that, yep, we could give it a shot. On the same side, we have a lot of people on the team internally that have garage gyms, and same story. We ran it through them. It's not to say we got it perfect, not to say we're not going to learn from this, to make sure that, yeah, we really do go into it with eyes wide open and make sure that we can get the most people doing this as possible. So yeah, overall, I'm happy that we did take the time to do that diligence, but I totally hear the feedback from people in the community that said, hey, this didn't work for my situation. Noted, and we'll definitely be looking at that next year.
Appreciate the perspective, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to, just a reminder, if you can also, when you introduce yourself, just a reminder to say the name of the outlet too. We're going to go to Scott Schweitzer next.
Thank you, Chris. This is for the athletes. Scott Schweitzer with Clydesdale Media. Jeff, we just talked a couple weeks ago about the importance of peaking at the right time in the season. One, how is it to win the Open? I'm sure this isn't the time you want to peak. And then two, for both you and Mal, how do you keep the noise from the outside away from you and just focus on your plan, because you guys have bigger goals than winning the Open this year?
Mal, you want to go first?
Yeah, I would say it's really, really exciting to be able to win the Open and not be in shape for it or preparing for it, just kind of using it as training. And it's just kind of like, it's really exciting for like what we can accomplish the next couple of months. And then like with the noise thing, you know, I think it's right to like celebrate however long you want, but also don't make it a focus and just like, don't make it like such a big deal. Like yeah, it happened and like, I'm super happy it happened and all this stuff, but it's also like very important to just stay on track with training and just like use it as kind of like a little like it is a little test basically. So yeah.
It's a little bit the same for me. It was kind of a surprise to win the Open, actually. I'm absolutely not ready for CrossFit at this moment. I'm not at my peak, and that's exciting. And I don't focus on the competitions when they're done. When they're done, we're going to the next one, and the scoreboard's at 0. So there's no translation between the Open and quarters and semis. The goal is just to qualify and get to the next stage until we get to the CrossFit Games in August.
Awesome. Thank you guys, and good luck to you both.
Thank you.
That's actually really great to hear about you both feeling that you weren't prepared or you were just not really in shape. I also was not in shape for this Open, which was only the third I've ever done. I think I've died like 14 times throughout the workout. So Boz, kudos to you for ruining me for about 3 straight weeks. We'll go to Mike Halpin next.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Mike Halpin with, I don't know, Unknown and Knowable. That's my Instagram. Anyway, my question is for Jeff, and I guess maybe Adrian as well. Jeff, this is the second time you've won the Open. The last time you won, there was also an event or a test that was part A and part B with a heavy lift. Do you see that sort of as, were you excited to see that workout show up in that way again here, and getting to show off your lifting skills along with your obviously metabolic skills? And then say maybe for Mal or Adrian as well, like what do you think of these types of tests that have these A and B components to them?
I honestly really like the programming for those 3 weeks. I also enjoy more the 3-week format than the 5-week, but then 3 tests is not enough. So getting that 4th one, I think, is a really, really good in between. Having the lift, obviously, like I'm absolutely not against. I love it. The thruster this year, I didn't show you guys everything I had, so I'm happy that I kept some on the table for that. But yeah, I mean, it was just good CrossFit. It was the first workout was just pure on like hurt CrossFit, and then it was testing your engine, testing your weights, and the third one was like a little combination of both. So I enjoyed those 3-week workouts a lot.
Does that mean I'm next?
Yeah, go ahead, boss.
Well, thanks for that, Jeff. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I think Jeff nailed it in the sense that the 3-week is a lot more generous as far as people that actually have to administer it in the affiliates. You know, most people after that 3-week mark, it can be difficult to get their members to buy in for weeks 4 and 5. So truncating it to that seems to be a big win from the community perspective, but it does leave us with that situation where you've only got 3 scored events, which is not a huge spread. So adding in one more opportunity for that, I think, is a good practice. It's not to say it's going to happen every year, but certainly something to think about as we move into next season.
And Mal, you're up next there, but if you need a reminder of that question, we can ask Mike to ask again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what they said. And I think I really like being able to test like heavy lifting under fatigue. Like usually when we lift in training, we don't really get to do that. So I think it is kind of a cool test to be able to like see how strong you are in a different type of way and how much you want it, especially in like the 5-minute window. So I agree.
Okay, thank you. Carlo, a quick note to you. I saw you put a question in the Q&A. If you'd like to ask it yourself, just raise your hand. If not, I'm happy to ask that for you down the road a little bit. We're going to go to Ava next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
All right, awesome. My question, I'm Ava Kitsy, I'm from the Morning Chalka. My question is for Mal. What have you done to prepare for this season outside of the physical aspects? And have you had to deal with any, internal pressure now that you're kind of a more well-known and potential podium favorite athlete?
Yeah, so I think after the games last year, we really the biggest thing was to just take a step back and slow down for a little bit, just because the season would get really long. And I was really excited to just get right back into training and everything. We've been hammering some weaknesses we found at the games, and I wouldn't say that particularly prepared me for the Open or the season in any means, but it will prepare me for the games. And then for with the pressure stuff, I kind of always feel that it's just part of our honestly daily routine to just feel some sort of pressure around training. And I think I handled it the same way I handle a lot of things, is just kind of staying in my own lane and focusing on what I know, and just keeping my communication open with the people in my circle and everything, and getting the help when I need it. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
So we'll head to Ava's colleague, Emily Beers.
Hi, I'm Emily Beers, also with the Morning Chalk Up, and my question is for Boz. With this being your first time, I guess, sort of leading the charge with the open programming, why did you start it all off with essentially a workout you didn't program by starting it with a repeat workout?
Ooh, that's a fun question. A couple of reasons. That was actually slated to be later in the test cycle. And it was actually at the recommendation of our competition team to get that one up front. So a couple of reasons. Number one, I love the repeat element. It was fun to get that out the gate. Number two, I think it's such a great classic test that it's got something for everybody. And, the obvious critique is, oh, I can't do muscle ups, and therefore maybe it's not as accessible. But there's so much to be done before that most people do have a pretty cool opportunity to play. And, it's I think it represents one of the awesome old school tests from the Dave Castro era. And, that's a big part of our history. And so shout out to that. So yeah, for all those reasons, it made sense.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Boz. We're going to go to Brian. Brian, I'm never going to know how to pronounce your name, even if you tell me multiple times, but Brian from Barbell Spin.
Yeah, I'll take that one. No, in short, we're not going to have an occupational games in an official capacity this year. Obviously athletes within the Open could use hashtags and custom leaderboards to do that on their own, but we're not going to support an occupational games this season. And for the reason that, there wasn't as much interest in some of the divisions as we had found that maybe we had hoped for. And ultimately, there was so many things on the calendar that we already had committed to with the quarterfinals and taking over the semis again, that we felt that we wouldn't be able to give it the attention that it was due to do it right. And so sometimes you have to make those hard decisions about, all right, there's only so many things that we can support, and we want to be able to support the things that we can do correctly. So unfortunately, for this season, that's not one that we're going to do. But that doesn't mean that the door's closed on it forever.
Justin, do you want to add anything to that, or are you good?
So Boz covered it. I think the important thing for us is making sure that we're putting our full focus and attention on the things that matter. And in some cases, being a little spread thin means that there's compromises. And so it's a big subject of conversation internally in our team on how we make sure that we're putting the right attention and effort towards the kind of central parts of the CrossFit Games season. So the individual competition, the team competition, the masters and adaptive, as well as Boz said, really delivering a top shelf experience for the semifinal stage, which has gone through a lot of changes this year, has been front and center for us. So that's an important target that our team has, and it means that we have to prioritize our time. And as Boz said, also, we keep our minds wide open for what we can do in the future. So we certainly recognize our first responders, and we know that fitness has been an important part of them occupationally, not just in competition, but it helps them do their jobs better and return home safely. So their absence from competition this year is certainly not a signal that they're not an important part of our community. Just for the competition season, we're putting our attention on the elements of the game season that we want to control the most.
All right, thank you. Carlo, your mic is ready to go as long as you unmute.
Thanks, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah. It's Carlo from Italy, Dummies at the Box magazine. I would like to ask you, do you expect some difficulties for the app standard in terms of execution and judging? Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's probably directed to me. So I'll take that one. First of all, I love your dummies at the box. That's fun. Second, yeah, I think anytime that we introduce a new movement, there's obviously a lot of questions about standards, and there's going to be some nerve-wracking moments there to say, did we get it right? And that's something that we take very seriously. So we do the best that we can to make the standard as simple and as straightforward as possible. And then once we have the athletes go through it, we're obviously going to take a look at that and say, did it work for what we needed? You do the best you can with the information that you have in the run-up. But at the end of the day, until you've run a couple of thousand athletes through it, it's hard to know exactly how it's going to pan out. So yeah, I think we've done a good job crafting it to make it pretty straightforward, but we're going to take a hard look at any new element that we add and make sure that it's as simple as it can be with preserving the nature of the test.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I think we got everybody who had their first question. We have a handful of hands still raised. We're going to revisit Tommy.
Thank you. This question again is for Boz, maybe getting a little more granular on the programming, specifically on day one. Can you speak to the inclusion of the two new elements, the chest to wall handstand pushups and the crossovers? And for the handstand pushups, is this tape line and the standard something that most people who are maybe looking to get better, is this a standard we can look forward to training in the future?
Yes, on the second part, I think that's the standard that we're going to use for the time being. But as with so many things in CrossFit, if you're taking that answer to say this is the only way I should train this in perpetuity, you're probably making a mistake, and that's not new. So yeah, for now, yes, that is the standard. As far as the new element, are you talking about the crossover?
Yes, that and the chest to wall as well for this stage.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I think it's, again, as I said earlier, the quarterfinals is all about just taking that groundwork that we've laid with the Open and pushing it just a little bit further. So we had some strict in the Open. We're taking it a little bit further by making the position a little bit more demanding with the chest to wall. So it's just a very natural extension. And it's at the end of the workout where you've got, quite a bit of fatigue built up to that point. So different circumstance, different skills being pushed a little bit. As far as the crossover, again, we're getting a little toe in the water with some skills there that have either been latent or disregarded entirely. So we'll see how it plays out with some of those athletes.
Thanks. All right, we're going to go with 3 more questions, and we'll go in this order just so everybody has it. We'll Patrick Clark, Andrew Hiller, and then Scott Switzer. Patrick, your microphone should be unmuted.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Hey, Mal, this question's for Mal. Hey, again, congrats once again for winning the Open. Just like Jeff, you joined a short list, an impressive list of female athletes that have won multiple times. That includes Sarah, Sam Briggs. So my question is, how has Matt and your relationship, how has that changed since last year's Open, particularly coaching and training? Has he grown as a coach just like you've grown as an athlete?
Yeah, for sure. I think when last year at the Open, we were still kind of 2 months in and haven't really have the relationship we have now. But over the past year and going through competitions together, we have way more training under our belt and all that stuff. We've definitely grown closer and understood each other a lot more about what I need as an athlete and what I expect from him as a coach. So I would say the start of the Open was just kind of it was great to see where we're at with all that stuff and how smoothly it went.
And kind of a follow-up on that is it looks like you're going to have a full house this weekend in Vermont. So can you talk about how exciting that will be for you to actually train, or if you're even going to train alongside some of those other athletes in Vermont this weekend?
Yeah, so we definitely have a full house. I'm really excited to have everyone up here, and it's kind of our first time competing all together, and we've trained together for the past week and it's went really well. So I'm really excited to support each other and just have fun this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Mal, and congrats again, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Hey, Mal, I'm going to follow up here. I know I'm not supposed to, but just for those who may not know, who all are you going to be training with this weekend?
So it's going to be me, Jason Hopper, Amanda Barnhart, and Katrin David's daughter.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the crew up there. So good luck and enjoy that.
Thank you.
Andrew, we'll head to you.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Hiller from YouTube. I have a question for Justin, and it's in relation to media. And I'm not sure what this looks like on you guys' end, but there's been quite a few early and misled posts on the CrossFit Games and the CrossFit Instagram pages. Notably, the second week of the CrossFit Open, they made a release with the leaderboard as it read, and the people who had won were the incorrect people. The scores had just not been verified yet, and they posted that early. And then as of right now, the quarterfinal workouts were released early as well. And I'm wondering what's going on at you guys' end to make sure that these are either correct or they don't happen in the future.
Boz, you want to take the quarterfinal one?
Yeah, I can say, Andrew, are you talking about how they dropped at 11:45 instead of noon?
Correct. They're both on YouTube and available on the website as well. And
yeah,
15 minutes early, which
I'll be clear about that one, that's not a mistake. That's intentional on our team to make sure that all of the channels that we're putting out are actually firing ahead of that noon deadline. And so if something goes wrong, we don't want to cut into that submission window that the athletes have. We'd rather give a little bit of leeway. So that's always been protocol for this stage of the season, is to give it a couple minutes early. And then that competition window opens at noon. So that was intentional.
Perfect. And then how about the press releases on Instagram?
The press release on Instagram, I'm not familiar with that.
Well, maybe you couldn't consider it a press release, but there is documentation from the game's official pages about who had won the workouts before it. They were just the incorrect scores at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. Those were posted before we had the opportunity to finalize that stage of the leaderboard. Ultimately, those were not the top scores. And yes, it did create some confusion when they're out there early. It's honestly, we do have a little bit of work to do with the teams internally to make sure that we're communicating about what goes out when. And I think that everybody, at least living in the social media realm, has that experience where you need to try to keep pace with, what's happening in real time. And sometimes that pressure leads us into some situations like that. So yeah, definitely something we are always trying to be as accurate as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Scott Schweitzer.
Scott Switzer again, Clydesdale Media. This question I think is for Boz. If Justin needs to jump in, that's fine too. As an old man myself, I'm representing the age group community. I have a question about why the age group quarterfinals were cut from 3 days to 2, and I believe from 5 tests to 4. What was the reasoning behind that?
You know, honestly, there was a lot of feedback that we got from those divisions. Many of those athletes are working professionals. They don't have the luxury of just getting in any time that they want, and their time that they do have to compete is often a little bit more limited than some of the other divisions. And so based on that, we thought, okay, can we still craft a test that is legitimate and gets us what we need as a filter for that next stage with a little bit more of a condensed comp schedule? And the answer was, yeah, I think we can. So it just made sense based on the field, you know, and what we need to get out of that stage.
All right, thank you, Boz.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to do one last. We're going to go back to Brian with barbell spin. Brian, you should be allowed to talk.
Yeah, I mean, the basics of that are where you reside. And so if you are affiliated with a gym, then that affiliation that affiliate address, geez, having trouble with that word, is going to be the primary consideration. If you're not part of an affiliate, then it's going to be your personal residence that you register with. And as far as validation, you know, we take it pretty seriously when we have allegations that people are not where they claim that they are. We do take people at face value, that where they state that they have resided or where they are currently residing is accurate and truthful, as they are asked to be accurate and truthful. But we do take investigations of people that aren't playing by those rules very seriously.
Great, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, especially our panelists, Jeff, Mal, Boz, and Justin. Mal and Jeff, good luck as you enter the quarterfinals. I know you are both ready to get things going this weekend. Just one last housekeeping note before we end this. We will likely have competition-related events like this, press conferences like this after the quarterfinals, after the semifinals. So we will work with you to make sure you all know that with plenty of time ahead of time so you can plan to join us. But again, congratulations, Mal. Congratulations, Jeff. Look forward to seeing your performances in the quarterfinals and throughout the game season. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Justin. And thanks to everyone who joined us today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys, I was on mute. That was the 2023 CrossFit Open press conference. Generally, that's, you know, out to the media. I was able to live stream it for you guys to kind of get an inside look of what that was and the questions, and hear from Mal and Adrian and Jeff and Justin. So yeah, that was it. It was interesting timing, given that it was at the exact same time as the quarterfinal workout release. We did try to have John on earlier, right before the press conference started, but his audio was not working so well. So let's just go through the workouts one last time and call it a day. So, all right, workout one. Again, workouts 1 and 2 must be submitted by noon Pacific time tomorrow on Friday. Workout 1, that's the one with the tape line on the wall. Had to go back to the, there it is. The floor plan that we talked about on Monday with rings and a barbell, 25-foot floor space, as well as the tape line on the wall. There's a lot of thoughts that maybe we don't do muscle ups again. Maybe it's ring dips or something of that nature, but it is not. It is for time, 9 front squats, 9 handstand walks, 15 front squats at a lighter weight, 15 muscle ups, 21 front squats, 21 chest to wall handstand push-ups. The weights begin at 225 pounds for the men, 155 for the women. It then decreases in the set of 15 to 185, 125, and then the last 21 are 135, 95. There is a 15-minute time cap on this one. And second workout, we'll go to that here. Again, the first and second workouts are due tomorrow at noon Pacific time. An hour later, the workouts on the leaderboard, the scores will be released. So athletes can submit their scores. They'll be hidden until 1 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time. Workout number 2. This one, the 12-minute AMRAP of 8 dumbbell snatches with one arm, 8 overhead walking lunge steps with the same arm, 8 dumbbell snatches with the other arm, 8 overhead walking lunges with that other arm, followed by 40 crossovers. And so I showed this earlier. These are not double under crossovers. They are single under crossovers. So here you go. So a little bit unique flair. We got a little bit of crossover, a little bit of single under on this one. Then we'll go to workout number 3. These are due, workouts 3 and 4 are due on Saturday at noon Pacific time. A 5 round for time workout with 5 burpee box jump overs and 1 clean and jerk. Each round adds another clean and jerk. So the 5th round will have 5 clean and jerks. 185-pound clean and jerks for the women, 24-inch box for them. For the men, it's 225-pound clean and jerks and a 30-inch box. 10-minute time cap on that. Workout number 4. This is the GHD and the rower. Looked like a very simple floor plan. They threw in 25 V-ups into the mix. If you heard Adrian talk about it, he's interested to see how that kind of works out. And you'll see the floor plan here. And this is a long one, a 20-minute AMRAP. I think everybody was kind of expecting maybe more of a sprint, but it is a 1,000-meter row, 50 GHD sit-ups, a 500-meter row, and 25 V-ups. They do have the movement standards here for the V-ups. Both hands have to touch the feet at the top of the V-up, and the top of the toes, when they do touch, the fingers touch the toes, have to be above the athlete's head. This one's going to be an interesting one for judging, so that'll be a little strange. Hey, Julian. So the problem was, to avoid an echo, I had to keep my audio muted. So you weren't able, for some reason, it didn't go through. The whole thing was just muted when I spoke. They could hear me and answer, but unfortunately, to avoid just a crazy echo on the press conference as well as the live stream, I had to just kind of fill it in on the comments. So the V-ups, it's gonna be interesting to see this one, how the athletes do this, how the judges, when they're watching this, if there are already no reps given. I'm assuming that Andrew Hiller will, for the videos he sees, will be looking at this one closely to see if there's any movement standards that are not being met. So again, this one, there's gonna be a lot of GHD sit-ups on this. You imagine 1,500-meter row. It's gonna be no less than 3 minutes, or, you know, it's gonna be 3 minutes each time around GHD sit-ups. So, I mean, you're talking 3+ rounds on this one. So a lot of GHD sit-ups, which we've come to expect in the quarterfinals. And the final workout, one last workout, is due on Sunday, again, at noon Pacific. 1 hour later at 1 p.m. Pacific, we will see the final score and how it all shakes out. So individual test 5, 21 deadlifts, 21 chest to bar pull-ups, 15 deadlifts, 15 bar muscle ups, 9 deadlifts, and 9 rope climbs. It's an ascending weight, so 225, 155 on the first 21 deadlifts. The second deadlifts at 15 reps is 275, 185. And the last set of deadlifts, 9 reps, is at 315, 205. Gabe from Paper Street Coffee. Why not do toes to bar versus the V-ups that are going to be harder to judge? I think this is really where Adrian is trying to push the envelope and get everybody out of thinking that different ways to test gymnastic style movements. You know, he talked about, look, a barbell is not only just used for deadlifts. So, you know, we kind of are expecting maybe to see something a little bit different on this one. The same thing with jump rope. You know, he would say that the jump rope is not just a double under machine. And so you saw the crossover double unders at the games. Now you're seeing the single under crossovers. So I think he's trying to just take it back. Again, like what Alyssa said here in the comments, take it back to the basics. Having this many athletes do the test online with varying levels of judge competency, I think you're setting yourself up for a little bit of, you know, poor judging. I don't think it's going to make an impact in the outcome of the event, given that it's going to be primarily row and GHD based. 25 V-ups, you know, for the rest of us would be a lot. It's probably not going to be the limiting factor in this workout. So it's probably his attempt to say that V-ups are important. Don't just skip ahead to the higher level GHD sit-ups or toes to bar. We'll see how it plays out, but you know, I think it'd be a tough one to judge, but I don't think it's going to make an impact to who advances and who does well in the workout. So those are the 5 workouts. Again, you'll see the scores populate the leaderboard at 1 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when those workouts are due. I don't think there's any video like code word or anything like that. From what I can tell in the rules, that would stop you from doing a workout now and submitting it on Saturday or Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see if we hear anybody go through that and decide that they may want to do these out of order. If they don't think, you know, as much as they can and still hit those deadlines. So they may do a workout now, get it over with, that would not impact them, and try to rearrange how they go through these workouts. RZEP1, Hiller is going to have a field day with this one. Yeah, I mean, possibly. Again, these are tough to view. We'll see how many are made public with quarterfinals. So there's a good chance that what we do see and what he's able to find, there are going to be athletes that do not meet the standards. So those are the 5 workouts. We will try to do some updates throughout the weekend to kind of give you a sense of where everybody is and what the leaderboard looks like. So stay tuned to thebarbellspin.com, this YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, set up notifications so that if we do go live, you don't miss anything. And again, if you're just now joining, feel free to go back, check out the press conference with Mal O'Brien and Jeff Adler, the 2023 CrossFit Open champions, along with Adrian Bosman and Justin Bergh. So live streamed that thing earlier in the stream. So go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.